is a very special ceremony. This class represents one that has experienced the full flower of the modern iteration of Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine. Today we graduate 158 students in our university program, the fourth class to complete a full 4 years of our innovative Western Reserve II curriculum. This curriculum is built on the pillars of scholarship, clinical mastery, population health sciences, leadership, and civic professionalism. This curriculum has attracted international attention and is designed to educate the physicians of the future, always learning and always focused on the patient. We graduate 7 students from our medical scientist training program. These students also experienced the Western Reserve II curriculum to attain their MD degree, but took time to simultaneously complete a PhD in one of the basic science and translational disciplines within the university. The federal grant that supports this program has been continuously funded for 48 years, in testimony to the quality and success of these graduates in becoming physician scientists. Finally, we graduate 34 students from the 5th class to complete the program at the Cleveland Clinic Lerner College of Medicine. This college combines traditional physician preparation and an emphasis on basic scientific research in a unique 5-year program designed to develop the clinical research physicians of tomorrow. The Cleveland Clinic Lerner College of Medicine was created with a generous gift from Norma Lerner and the late Al Lerner. The physicians, scientists who comprise the class of 2013 owe the Lerners an enormous debt of gratitude, as we all do. In all programs, this year's class has attained intellectual mastery of the curriculum. They have also internalized the core values of the profession, putting the patient first. They go forward as our ambassadors to some of the finest residency programs in the country. To our graduates, this ceremony marks the end of your life as a layperson and the beginning of your life as a physician. Long-awaited, richly deserved celebration also confers upon you substantial professional responsibility. I now ask the candidates for the MD degree to stand and turn to the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, class of 2013. Did not reach this point alone. The love and support of your families and friends have sustained and nurtured you and will continue to be necessary as you engage in your profession. I now ask the parents, grandparents, spouses, and children of our graduates to stand and be saluted by the class you helped create. Some of the distinguished physicians and scientists seated on the podium today. I ask each physician to stand when I introduce you and remain standing until all have been introduced and the audience can acknowledge you then. Our students from the Lerner College and the university program came together in the clinical years to enjoy the rich learning experiences provided at our affiliated hospitals, each of which has a distinctive flavor and each of which has worked to make the clinical lessons of our students both absorbing and exhilarating. Today we have with us Dr. Alfred Connors, the Chief Medical Officer of the Metro Health System, Dr. Murray Altos, Chief of Staff and Senior Associate Dean for the Lewis Stokes Veterans Affairs Medical Center, Dr. Fred Rothstein, President of University Hospitals Case Medical Center, and Dr. Delos Cosgrove, Chief Executive Officer of the Cleveland Clinic. The guiding hands of all these physicians have made the medical enterprise in Cleveland a spectacular patient-centered experience that you have enjoyed. I thank you all for your support of the School of Medicine. Also with us today is the President of the Academy of Medicine of Cleveland in Northeast Ohio, George V. Topolsky, MD, Medicine class of 87, Case Western Reserve, who represents the welcome extended by the profession to its newest members. George. In the front two rows on stage is a platform party composed of the faculty marshals for commencement, our distinguished speaker, the deans of education and admissions, and the executive dean of the Cleveland Clinic Lerner College of Medicine. We'll speak about them later. Included as faculty marshals are the society deans who have advised, stimulated, encouraged, and inspired the class with their dedication and enthusiasm. In addition, we welcome our department chairs and administrators who keep the school running and the educational process humming. At the core of the educational process, though, is the faculty, some of whom are seated behind the platform, and department chairs, some on the risers and some on chairs in the floor here. With our distinguished emeriti faculty, the faculty are the heart and soul of Case Western Reserve. Thank you all for all you do for our students and our patients and for one another. In recognition of the importance of the faculty, the Kaiser Permanente Awards for Excellence in Teaching are presented at commencement. These awards are presented by members of the graduating class. I call upon Benjamin Cherry, who will tell you about the Kaiser award-winning faculty members from preclinical and clinical departments from the university program for 2013.
I'm honored and privileged today to present awards for excellence in teaching to two members of our faculty here at the School of Medicine. An especially poignant moment for me as the product of two teachers. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Before we recognize these individuals specifically, however, I'd like to ask my classmates to take just a moment to applaud the collective excellence of the School of Medicine's many outstanding faculty who have, through their continued efforts, given us a world-class education and ensured that a medical degree from Case Western Reserve is widely recognized as representing a high standard of merit in the scientific and humanistic principles of medicine. By meeting their expectations, we have far surpassed those of others. Thank you, faculty. The first of these two awards for excellence in preclinical teaching goes to the highly deserving Amy Wilson-Delfoss, PhD. Dr. Wilson-Delfoss was an outstanding mentor for me in the first 2 years of the CWRU curriculum, where we worked together in IQ, our problem-based learning groups, and in the foundations of clinical medicine, our so-called touchy-feely Tuesdays. In IQ, Dr. WD gave prescriptive, specific feedback that helped me to improve my approach to assimilating the daunting material of the preclinical curriculum. Perhaps more important, she also helped me to refine my approach to working with my fellow classmates. As facilitator for both IQ and FCM, she excelled at bringing out quieter members of the group who could sometimes be overshadowed by loudmouths like me, and in doing so, promoted an engaging, well-rounded discussion. I also had the opportunity to work with Dr. Wilson-Delfoss in a more research-oriented setting where we both participated in the Summer Fellowship Scholars Collaboration in Teaching and Learning. As a faculty presenter and participant, Dr. Wilson-Delfoss brought an experienced and critical research mind to the table. Without a doubt, her contributions significantly augmented the rigor of the fellowship and impacted my scholarly activities throughout medical school. In summary, Dr. Wilson-Delfoss's outstanding contributions to the School of Medicine's preclinical curriculum have earned the honor of the Kaiser Permanente Excellence in Preclinical Teaching. Congratulations, Amy. The award for clinical teaching this year is given to Richard John Lee. In her nomination of Dr. Lee, Ashley Trotter of the class of 14 wrote, "Dr. Lee is the sort of attending who ensures that students and residents truly understand neurology. He intermixes demonstrations of appropriate techniques with daily lecture topics that residents and students make use of even after they work with him." Examples of his devotion to teaching include a video follow-up to his live demonstration of the proper performance of the Epley maneuver, a detailed and comprehensive PowerPoint discussion of dizziness with emphasis on ocular findings in these patients, radiology teaching sessions devoted to specific diseases, and a team field trip to the neurology lab. In 2 weeks of working with Dr. Lee, I fell in love with neurology. I became proficient in examining numerous diseases and presentations, felt confident studying brain MRIs, and was more competent in developing differential diagnoses. Dr. Lee is patient, generous with his time, and very involved with his team in their approach to the discipline of neurology. He certainly deserves this honor. Ashley's comments were echoed by many other members of the award selection committee, and we are quite pleased to present the Kaiser Permanente Excellence in Clinical Teaching Award to Dr. John Lee.
Thank you, Ben. I introduce to you Caroline Hansa, who will present the Kaiser Permanente Award for 2013 to the winning pre-clinical faculty member in the college program.
The award for preclinical medical education from the Lerner College goes to Dr. Charles Tannenbaum. Dr. Tannenbaum was first introduced to me about 10 years ago as the devoted father of a youth orchestra member. When I started at the Lerner College, I was then lucky to call him a teacher, both as a seminar leader and a small group facilitator. In the large group, his enthusiasm and talent for teaching was obvious. He provided a solid overview of the challenging subject of immunology and made it easy to organize details within that framework. He was meticulous in the preparation of his seminars, as well as the carefully written, clinically relevant notes provided after each session. He was always available for students, whether for follow-up teaching or a friendly conversation about Cleveland's best restaurants. In the small group, he listened closely, patiently guiding the group to teach each other. He created a warm and focused atmosphere in which we were all comfortable offering our ideas and questions. A great example of reflective practice, he was just as eager to receive suggestions about how to improve his teaching as he was to provide each student with thoughtful, high-quality feedback on our weekly essays and progress. Dr. Tannenbaum is truly deserving of this Kaiser Award, and I'm honored to recognize and thank him for his commitment to the Lerner College.
Who will tell you about the Kaiser Award-winning faculty member from a clinical department from the college program.
First of all, congratulations to my fellow classmates. It's a wonderful day for all of us. I feel that I can speak for my classmates when I say that most of the faculty in our school are deserving of a great award, but I feel that you gain a special connection and a deep relationship with somebody who you explore a chest cavity with. And that's the case with the award winner for the Kaiser Excellence in Teaching Award, Dr. Jennifer McBride. She was involved, I have to admit, in every single year of my 5 years at the school. She was involved in some way in giving wisdom, teaching, and advice. She not only taught us wonderful histology and anatomy courses, she actually taught, amazingly enough, she taught medical students to be anatomy teachers, and that was no small task, and it was some of my most cherished memories of medical school. Finally, I really have enjoyed knowing Dr. McBride and her example of how to be a great professional, but at the same time have a great family and be able to raise a great family. And so I can't think of anybody better to give the award to than Dr. Jennifer McBride. Thank you.
I now invite Dr. Cosgrove to the podium to offer his thoughts about educating physicians for clinical research in these challenging times. Dr. Cosgrove is a graduate of Williams College and the University of Virginia School of Medicine. He's recognized internationally as one of our generation's finest and most innovative cardiothoracic surgeons, with more than 30 patents and 450 scientific publications to his name. Dr. Cosgrove served as an Air Force surgeon in Vietnam and received the Bronze Star for his work evacuating more than 20,000 casualties during his tour of duty. He came to the Cleveland Clinic in 1975 and was named chairman of the Department of Thoracic and Cardiovascular Surgery in 1989. Under his leadership, the department has risen to the #1 ranking in the nation in U.S. News and World Report, a place it holds to this day. Dr. Cosgrove.
Well, thank you, Dean Davis. Congratulations to the graduate of Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine. I join your faculty, family, friends in honoring you on this really great occasion. Medical school challenged the mind, the body, and the spirit like no other course of study. Your teachers, if your teachers have done their jobs, they have changed you as people. You are sharper, more competent, and better informed. Now comes the good part. Change is part of your job description. To manage change, you need 4 critical skills: curiosity, teamwork, persistence, and a willingness to fail. And one more, empathy. Medicine is a career that demands lifelong learning. Cultivate what Albert Einstein called holy curiosity. Knowledge is accumulating at an exponential rate. Much of what you have learned over the past 4 years will be obsolete in the next 4. Get ready to collaborate. Teamwork will be essential to learning and practicing medicine in your career. No one of us is smart enough to command all the medical knowledge for the 21st century. Andrew Carnegie said, teamwork allows common people to achieve uncommon goals. Think of what can be achieved when uncommon people work together. And whatever work you do, you must never give up. Calvin Coolidge said, nothing in the world takes the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination are omnipotent. Many doctors feel that failure is something that you need to avoid at all costs. Failure may be an event in your life, but it is not who you are. Listen to the biographies of high achievers, from Thomas Edison to Winston Churchill. Everyone is a story of failure, right up until the moment of success. You will learn a great deal from mentors and colleagues in the years to come. But the greatest teacher of all will be the patient. They teach hard lessons. The first is humility, followed by empathy and compassion. Dr. William Lauer, one of the founders of the Cleveland Clinic, he asked the question, who is our employer? It is really our patient. If we make all our daily decisions in the patient's best interest, most of the other problems will vanish. Empathy lies at the very heart of the healthcare profession. Our job is to put empathy to work for our patients, their families, and the health of our communities. You have successfully completed study at one of the great medical programs in America. You have reached a great milestone in your career. Go forward with great confidence. This is your time. Congratulations.
most distinguished medical leader for our keynote speaker, Dr. Arthur Rubenstein. Dr. Rubenstein is a former Executive Vice President of the University of Pennsylvania Health System and Dean Emeritus of the Raymond and Ruth Perlman School of Medicine. Together, these entities make up Penn Medicine, a $3.6 billion enterprise dedicated to medical education, research, and patient care. Dr. Rubenstein's leadership in these roles extended over 10 years, during which time he led unprecedented expansion of clinical and research facilities. Before his time at Penn, he served as Dean of the Mount Sinai School of Medicine for 4 years, where he was the Gustav L. Levy Distinguished Professor. Prior to these prominent leadership positions, however, Dr. Rubenstein gained international recognition as an endocrinologist with clinical expertise in groundbreaking research in diabetes. He is the author of over 350 publications and was a key member of the team at the University of Chicago that conducted a series of studies defining the roles of proinsulin C-peptide and insulin secretion. He then explored these to define markers for differential diagnosis of hyperglycemia. To put the importance of this work in context, Dr. Rubenstein and his team studies formed some of the foundation that we use for diagnosis and treatment of disorders of glucose metabolism today. He received the two most prestigious scientific awards from the American Diabetes Association, the Outstanding Scientific Achievement Award, or the Lilly Award for young investigators, and the Banting Medal for career contributions to diabetes research, as well as the Kober Medal from the Association of American Physicians. Dr. Rubenstein is known as an inspiring teacher and as a recipient of the AAMC's Abraham Flexner Award and the highest honor from the Association of Professors of Medicine, the Robert H. Williams Distinguished Chair of Medicine Award, among many, many other prestigious honors. Born in South Africa, he received his medical degree from the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg. We are really honored to have such a distinguished physician, researcher, executive, and leader join us today. Dr. Rubenstein.
Dean Davis, President Crossgrove, President Rothstein, Associate and Assistant Deans, graduating students and your families, faculty and guests. First, I wish to thank Dean Davis for her kind introduction and warm invitation to participate in this wonderful day with your special students, remarkable faculty, families, and friends. I'm also delighted that my sister-in-law, Dr. Maureen Hagg, who has been a faculty member of your school for the past 35 years, is here today, together with my wife, Dr. Denise Rubenstein, and their sister, Audrey Klein. To be actually honest with you, having three sisters here today to critique my speech has made me more nervous than talking to all of you combined. So if you can look after me afterwards, I'd be appreciative. This beautiful ceremony today, the awarding of degrees to students, embodies the best characteristics of this wonderful institution, and everyone should feel very proud of your achievements. In this regard, one would imagine that there would be tremendous enthusiasm and pleasure on the part of current members of our profession to welcome you as you prepare to join us. Nevertheless, to listen to some physicians who have been in practice for many years, medicine is not the wonderful and desirable profession that it used to be. Many of their concerns or complaints surfaced in a recent New York Times article entitled, "Family Physician Cannot Give Away His Solo Practice." The physician in question, Dr. Ronald Soroka, had practiced in Crofton, Maryland for 32 years. He had resisted moving to electronic medical records because of the expense and the learning curve. His costs had risen, his hours were longer, and private reimbursements had declined. At the same time, his patients had gotten sicker and their treatments more complex. It is, according to the Times, emblematic of the transformation in American medicine that physicians like Dr. Soroka are increasingly being replaced by teams of doctors and nurses, while individual practitioners struggle to deliver the personal care that they believe in. These sentiments are echoed in letters to the editors of various prestigious medical journals. They too report a loss of enthusiasm brought about by changes that make practice, especially solo or small group practices, much more wearing and fretful. Practitioners cite battles with third-party insurance companies, intransigent bureaucracies, lower reimbursement, high malpractice costs, and so on, and also longer hours needed to keep afloat. They've also experienced a significant loss of autonomy. Many practitioners of earlier generations do not find the idea of electronic medical records and other forms of technology appealing, and not only because of their expense. And while doctors must absorb an explosion of scientific knowledge in recent years, they must also deal increasingly with patients who come with information garnered from the internet. All of these factors, many older physicians feel, have led to a widening gulf between them and their patients. Yet despite all these and many other concerns, we find that the brightest young people, who are all here today, continue to enter the profession of medicine. Statistics show that there were more than 45,000 total applications to all United States medical schools this past year. And at the top, the ranking schools, the grade point average was in the range of 3.7 to 3.9. Many students take at least 1 year off between college and medical school. And what do they do after college? Some do Fulbright Scholars, Gates Foundation Scholars, National Institutes of Health Fellows, Howard Hughes Fellows, and so on. Some do not-for-profit work in Haiti and in disadvantaged countries, as you many have done, in Africa, Central America, and the Far East. Others volunteer for the Peace Corps or perform research at academic medical centers. So how can we explain this paradox? While many older members of the profession are disillusioned, the best and brightest students are competing to become physicians. Well, I sympathize with our concerned older physicians, being, I hate to admit it, but you won't be surprised to learn that I'm one of them. But because of my good fortune of always being able to interact with students such as yourselves, my perspective is different. All of us in medicine, young and old, are facing rapid and enormous changes that can be difficult to handle. However, the major challenge, in my opinion, is mainly a generational issue. What is difficult and stressful for older generations of physicians may be much less so for the young graduates of today. For one thing, they may value autonomy less than those of us who went into solo or small group practice in the 20th century. Medical students today learn to work in teams, which we believe will position them well to work in the changing new healthcare system now under development. At the same time, recent graduates place a higher value on a balanced lifestyle with more time for their families. They are able to deal with the profusion of new knowledge because they are adept at evaluating it with the help of new technologies. In fact, of course, you're all more proficient at using new electronic devices than any of us, and it is amazing to think that playing video games will help you do robotic surgery one day. We can liken this difference between generations to the changes given impetus more than a century ago in 1910 by Abraham Flexner's tremendously influential report. Flexner systematically visited more than 150 medical schools in the United States and Canada and reported that most of them had little scientific basis in their educational programs. Indeed, many had no hands-on clinical training and depended entirely on the apprenticeship system and rote teaching. As a result of Flexner's investigations, many medical schools closed, and those that remained tightened their admission standards, increased direct patient contact, and made science central to their mission. Now, this Flexnerian model of medical education has lasted almost 100 years. But in this most recent decade, we are, in my opinion, going through another seismic change, both in what we teach and how we teach it, and in what our students are prepared to do after they graduate. In spite of the uneasiness expressed by these older physicians about the future of the profession, There are numerous wonderful roles and opportunities available to all of you. One might loosely characterize one group of these as broad societal options to which members of the medical profession are uniquely qualified and can contribute to for a lot of good. Many of you will be well suited to contribute to public policy, public health, healthcare delivery, and scientific research. Some may work as a hospital administrator, epidemiologist, creator of vaccines, specialist in infection control, a researcher at the CDC, or a developer of policy at the FDA. Some may work in the pharmaceutical industry or as an entrepreneur in the biotech industry. All of us in medicine know how important it is to increase our scientific knowledge and develop stronger evidence-based approaches to understand the causes and prevention of disease and to improve our healthcare system today. Today's students are remarkably well equipped to tackle these large, important societal issues, if you wish to. With the recent passage of the Affordable Health Care Act, there are many additional challenging and wonderful opportunities to consider. Now, clearly these opportunities are wonderful, but they are not the area that actually gives concern to the profession. Rather, it is the other role that the physician can play that is being stressed today, namely that of the physician as a healer. Today, our graduates have the opportunity to care for individual patients, to connect with them in intimate ways, as physicians have done for many, many hundreds of years. This encounter is the central tenet of our medical profession. Taking care of patients today, as always, demands a full and conscientious effort. The physician must always be there for the patient and his or her family. If not, the healing process is threatened. There is no doubt that today, many practicing physicians are very concerned about their or their colleagues' ability to deliver patient-centered care at the highest level. Earlier this year, I received a letter from a woman who had been a patient at our institution, the University of Pennsylvania, many times over the past 12 years because of various illnesses. She reported that she had completed recently a series of radiation treatments for recurrent endometrial cancer. In her words, I quote, "The knowledge and skills of everyone involved in my treatment made a difficult time much more bearable. It is a credit to you and your staff, and I wanted to take this time to let you know how valuable they are to Penn." Close quote. However, despite these accolades, her letter ended on a somewhat less flattering note. I quote again, "I had to add a negative," she wrote, "but a couple of your physicians, though brilliant, could benefit from a refresher course in bedside manners." Didn't make me feel good, not even the first part. The patient's complaint unfortunately reflects the feelings of a rather sizable part of the American population. Indeed, the Association of American Colleges recently sponsored an opinion poll to gauge public attitudes towards medical schools and teaching hospitals. Although the public response was largely favorable, one area where our medical schools did not fare well was in the area of educating and training doctors on good bedside manners. More than 30% of the voters thought the schools were doing an only fair or poor job in that regard. Broken down further, the poll found a demand for better communication skills on the part of their physicians and listening skills in particular. What this feedback tells us is that an unfortunately sizable part of the physician population are failing at one of the most important aspects of our profession. Indeed, some may call it our single most important challenge, re-establishing a genuine, trusting, and respectful relationship with our patients. Now I can already imagine some of your thoughts. Everyone knows that this is a problem, and so it's easy to highlight it in his talk, but what's the solution? Others are probably thinking, if he's anything as smart as his introduction, he should be able to come up with the solutions and tell them to us today. Well, in fact, I do plan to mention two possible approaches to meeting this serious challenge to our profession. The first answer, in my opinion, is to emphasize the quality of humility. Dr. Cosgrove mentioned it himself, so there must be some telepathy between us. as a crucial tenet for the profession, and especially for the physician-patient interaction. Over the years, many writers have suggested the attributes necessary for a successful patient-physician relationship, amongst them honesty, integrity, curiosity, warmth, trust, the ability to communicate, empathy, which has been mentioned too, patience, and other qualities. More and more, though, I am personally convinced that humility is the central, essential characteristic. As Dr. Jack Houlihan, one of the nation's leading ethical scholars in this field, has put it recently, humility is hardly a valued ideal today, especially in today's world of medicine, where doctors often seem super confident, assertive, and impatient. I first came across this issue some 30 years ago in an article entitled Arrogance. It was written by one of the great leaders of American medicine, Dr. Franz Ingelfinger, the editor of the New England Journal of Medicine. He wrote an article to capture his feelings about many of his physician colleagues and the way they had treated him during his terminal illness, which was cancer of the esophagus. To his surprise, he noticed that a number of them behaved towards him in an authoritarian, paternalistic way. At its worst, Ingelfinger wrote, paternalism accentuated by vanity or lack of empathy can be described as arrogance. Physicians with these qualities, he argued, will never be successful. They won't be able to look after patients, and in fact, they are an embarrassment to the profession. In a recent essay, Dr. Houlihan puts it concisely, arguing that physicians need a gentle and humane temper, which includes the quality of humility. Houlihan believes that unpretentious openness is essential, as well as honest self-reflection, which would include admitting and apologizing for mistakes when they occur. We cannot let the human intimacy be lost in the doctor-patient relationship. Physicians must not hide behind their superior knowledge and their brand new instrumentation. We should not be patronizing. I'm particularly concerned for the poor and uneducated patients who often get lost in the system, but whose human needs are often greater than anyone else's. Growing up in South Africa, my wife Denise and I were pained by the unequal quality of healthcare delivered to different people depending on the color of their skin, and the terrible discrimination that black families faced in everything they did. That experience was seared in my brain and made me realize every day of my life just how lucky we all are. The intolerable apartheid situation made it imperative for us to leave South Africa. But what I took with me when I left was an intense belief in the importance of the doctor-patient relationship and the responsibility and obligations we all held to help our patients and their families to the best of our abilities. My teachers in South Africa embodied the ideals of professionalism and humanism. They were excellent role models, and I came to love and embrace taking care of families, patients and their families, whatever their race, socioeconomic situation or religion. I also came to realize the tremendous personal rewards that accrue when we carry out this responsibility with dedication and kindness. And what you may ask is my second solution. Well, you may not be surprised to know that you are the solution, my young colleagues. It is you. Your graduation today indicates that you are essentially gifted and will be the role models for our colleagues in restoring beauty to our profession, and particularly in the patient relationship. We members of the older generation have not solved the problem, but I am completely confident that the solution lies amongst those of you being honored here today. And there are precedents to support my confidence. Bill Gates and Paul Allen, bearing in their 20s when they created Microsoft, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, PhD candidates at Stanford when they founded Google, Mark Zuckerberg, a sophomore at Harvard when he founded Facebook, and practically a senior in comparison, Jeff Bezos was 30 when he founded Amazon. So you do have the tools to transform our clinical care system as the next decade unfolds. You will be able to perform translational research, work collaboratively and ethically with the pharmaceutical companies, develop new drugs, and become the generations of great clinicians. You will be the ones to better shape the future healthcare policies. You will be the ones to come up with creative and innovative solutions. You are the ones who are the leaders of tomorrow, the ones who will really make a difference, even in an environment of challenge and uncertainty. I also believe that if you embrace the essential quality of humility, you will find new and innovative ways to restore the beauty of the patient-physician relationship, albeit in ways that no one can quite predict today. I'll be watching you with interest and great pride. I'm sure you will not let me down. And so how should I end? I believe all my heart that medicine is the greatest profession, as I'm sure you do. Even in this changing and challenging time, I believe the opportunities are great and that you have made absolutely the right choice. I congratulate each of you and wish you great happiness and success. And one last piece of advice as you go about your studies and your clinical work. Please remember every day, if you can, the special words of Emerson, who wrote about success as follows. I quote, "To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people, the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty and to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know that even one life has been easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. Good luck to all of you. You've made us all very proud."
Wonderful, and I hope we'll all take it to heart, not just our graduates. I have a little gift for you. We will not expect you to hurry right now. And we are grateful to you for your words of wisdom today. Thank you. We are now going to proceed to the heart of the matter and distribute the diplomas. Dr. Rubenstein, I invite you to move to the diploma table to help congratulate our graduates. Doctors Connors, Cosgrove, Rothstein, and Altos, I invite you to join us as well to greet the graduates. You will find your name on the floor. Faculty marshals, please take your places at this time. I would like now to introduce to you the faculty who will assist in diploma presentation. Please take your positions as I introduce you. Dr. Clint Snyder, Interim Vice Dean for Education and Academic Affairs, who will actually deliver the diplomas. Be nice to him. Our society deans who will assist in hooding our graduates. Dr. Robert Haney, Dr. Kevin Dr. James Young, who will assist in hooding. Associate Dean for Admissions, who will introduce our graduates.
Graduates, please come forward as your name is called. Dr. Ogechi Agwu. Dr. Justin Arndt. Dr. Defna Arsalan. Dr. Cynthia Arvizo. Dr. Emily Bacon. Dr. Ehsan Balagamola, hooded by his wife, Dr. Mawish Balagamola. Dr. Mary Banks, hooded by her mother, Dr. Virginia Banks, class of 1974. Dr. Matthew Bartley. Dr. Courtney Bott. Dr. Timothy Bugler. Dr. Hiran Bhakta. Dr. Kevin Bigger. Dr. Trevor Bledsoe. Dr. Amanda Bradke. Dr. Eric Brandt. Dr. Daniel Brownsford. Dr. Gregory Brown. Dr. Leonard Bowler. Dr. Rhett Butler. Dr. Adrian Callahan. Dr. Christopher Carlos. Dr. George Cater. Dr. Amy Chang. Dr. Bailey Chang. Dr. Bianca Chang. Dr. Denise Chang. Dr. Niall Chang. Dr. Yvonne Chasser. Dr. Vishal Chauhan. Dr. Nikunj Chauhan. Dr. Benjamin Cherry. Dr. Kimberly Cherbach. Dr. Stephanie Cizik. Dr. Dallas Clendenin. Dr. Maureen Cobabe, codified faculty member Dr. Margaret McKenzie. Dr. Michael Cover. Opealua Elayinifi. Dr. Ikaruka Ichinwajuku. Dr. Kevin Fong. Dr. William Fisher. Dr. Thomas Fowles. Dr. Mark Frankel. Dr. Alexander Fu. Dr. Gabriel Gatharain. Dr. Raj Gala. Dr. Jeremy Gephardt. Dr. Conrad Gibby. Dr. Demetra Gibson, codified faculty member Dr. Rowena McDavid, class of 79. Dr. Matthew Ginsberg, codified faculty member Dr. Mark Mashwitz. Dr. Robert Goodnow. Dr. Indranil Gowder, codified member Dr. Clemente Gowder and mother Dr. Aruna. Dr. Amar Gupta, codified father Dr. Vishnav Gupta and mother Dr. Aruna Gupta. Dr. Amar C. Gupta, codified his mother Dr. Dr. Michael Hagan. Dr. Peter Hanna. Dr. Louis Hendricks, codified faculty member Dr. Barbara McKenzie. Dr. Jason Ho. Dr. Ryan Hoffler. Dr. Carolyn Hansa. Dr. Joey Shaw, codified faculty member Dr. Suber Huang. Dr. Dennis Shea. Dr. Lindsay Huang. Dr. Lindsay Huang. Lily Huang. Dr. Kimberly Hung. Dr. Sia Huo. Dr. Shiwei Hu, hooded by his father, Dr. Shoji Hu. Dr. Jessica Ng, hooded by her father, Dr. Dennis Ng. Dr. Sarah Isquick. Dr. Jeffrey Jacobs. Dr. Elias Jaffa. Dr. Blake Jones. Latino, hooded by her father, Dr. Carl Latino, class of 1980. Dr. Frank Masters. Dr. Colleen Mayhew. Dr. Christopher McCullough, hooded by his uncle, Dr. Paul Tischer. Dr. Jamie Maringer. Dr. Viraj Mehta, hooded by his mother, Dr. Jyoti Mehta, and brother, Dr. Pritesh Mehta. Dr. Andrew Michelson. Dr. Philip Miller. Dr. Keisha Mitchell. Dr. Calvin Moe. Dr. Abhishek Mahapatra. Dr. Jason Molatoris, hooded by his father, Dr. Bruce Molatoris. Dr. Vito Monaco. Dr. Nicole Munson. Dr. Nathaniel Morazadeh. Dr. Aaron Maria. Dr. Laura Navarro Borley, hooded by faculty member Dr. Kate Allen. Dr. Miles Nikolich. Dr. Sarah Nikolich. Dr. Sumit Nijawan. Dr. Jennifer Nishimura. Dr. Brian Nolan. Dr. Ryan Novins, hooded by faculty member Dr. Barbara Freeman. Dr. Praise O'Hara. Dr. Shayla Pavon. Dr. Darren Palafinkel. Dr. Gavya Parachuri, hooded by her father, Dr. Sudhakar Parachuri, and mother, Dr. Raman Parachuri. Dr. Anurup Pasqualati. Dr. Vishal Patel. Dr. Tatiana Petukova, hooded by her mother, Dr. Marina Petukova. Dr. Chow Pham. Dr. Jessica Pippin. Dr. Ernest Powell. Dr. Shiraz Rahim, hooded by his father, Dr. Tariq Rahim. Dr. Arvind Rana. Rebecca Ruff. Dr. Heather Reinsack Smith. Dr. Anita Sadhu, hooded by her father, Dr. Vijay Sadhu. Dr. Kyle Scarberry. Dr. Zachary Sherm, hooded by his father, Dr. Stephen Sherm. Dr. Isaac Schwartz, hooded by his mother, Dr. Elaine Marie Schwartz. Dr. Heather Scafoni, hooded by faculty member, Dr. Jennifer Friedland. Dr. Chintan Shah. Dr. Doug Shalman. Dr. Angela Sheen. Dr. Kevin Shrestha. Dr. Damon Simmons. Dr. Preetha Sinha. Dr. Brian Siss. Dr. Jennifer Sue Hu. Dr. Kevin Steiner. Dr. James Stewart. Dr. Alexandria Stringham. Dr. Sarah Sweeney. Dr. Warren Swagel. Dr. Asha Talati, hooded by her fiancé, Dr. Sunny Patel, class of 2012. Dr. Aaron Taylor. Dr. Matthew Test. Dr. Vikram Thimappa. Dr. Ian Thompson. Dr. David Tomich, hooded by his father, Dr. John Tomich. Dr. Jennifer Tsai. 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 Congratulations, graduates.
At Matriculation, the class of 2013 worked together to make their own oath of medical professionalism. But today, you have earned the right to recite the Hippocratic Oath. The recitation of this oath marks your formal entry into the profession of medicine. May I ask the class of 2013 to stand and turn to page 19 in your programs. I will get you started. Now being admitted to the profession of medicine, I solemnly pledge to consecrate my life to the service of humanity. I will give exact gratitude to my earthly teachers. I will practice medicine with conscience and dignity. The health and life of my patients will be my purpose and dedication. I will hold in confidence all that my nation prizes in me. I will maintain the honor and the noble traditions of the medical profession. I will not bring consideration of race, religion, nationality, sexual orientation, party politics, or social standing intervene between my duty and my vision. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. Even under threat, I will not use my knowledge contrary to the laws of humanity. These promises I make freely and upon my honor. Congratulations.
Today, you enter an ancient profession that provides, as exemplified by Dr. Rubenstein's remarkable career, unparalleled opportunities for service, the chance to change the world, and a very special window into the lives of your patients. You will see from a unique perspective both the depths and the soaring heights of the human spirit. You will take on daunting responsibilities. You will hold human life in your hands. But in time, you will welcome this charge where you have been prepared, and you can make a difference in the world, one life at a time. Some of you will take on the challenges of research. You will change the practice of medicine and impact many lives for years to come. Some of you will enter public health and perform great services that affect the health of nations. Whatever path you choose, even as you have conquered vast worlds of learning to arrive here today, there are vast opportunities for discovery and service in front of you. There is still much to learn. You must now commit yourselves to the endless pursuit of knowledge in the service of your patients. But you must also retain the enthusiasm, hope, and expectancy that you feel right now. In our profession, cynicism is as much the enemy as disease. Your professors and colleagues at Case Western Reserve have helped to shape your values even as we trained your mind. May these values sustain you during unsettled times. You are ambassadors for Case Western Reserve as you enter those great residencies and later the practices and institutions that you will serve. We have every confidence that you will represent us with honor and integrity. To my newest physician colleagues, doctors of the class of 2013, I wish you all the best. Congratulations. Remain seated until the academic procession, including our graduates, has exited. The procession will follow our piper down the steps in front of this magnificent hall and continue up Adelbert Road to the School of Medicine for the reception. Please join us for the reception at the School of Medicine. In any event, except for those who are handicapped, please exit through the main doors of Severance Hall and down the front steps. To reach the reception, follow the academic procession, or if you're unable to walk, golf carts will be available on the west side of Severance Hall. If you are not attending the reception, please proceed directly to your vehicles. Severance Hall ushers are available to assist you with any special needs. This does represent a change from previous years.